Time for many sails. Could we turn the music off, please? Can we turn the music off, please? Thank you very much. There's a water that has never been a part of any written language, never been a part of any desk in school, never been carved, thank goodness, in the trunk of any sacred tree. Like my time on my ship in the Navy, when we were sailing in the waters between Guam and Hawaii. Water, only water on all sides of us, all the way to the horizon. John Masefield's poem, Sea Fever, seized our imaginations. I must go down, down to the seas again, to the fragrant gypsy life. Ah, the gypsies, to the gull's wave and the whale's wave, where the wind is like a whetted knife. On that day, we encountered a great mass of Portuguese men of war. Their lilac balloon bodies had little white sails catching the wetted knife of the wind, moving them in the same slow direction as one. After some inflated time, we were still sailing through them, killer purple sailors stretched to the horizon on all sides, far as any mariner could see. We sailors all knew we had just witnessed one of the mysteries of the sea. We also knew beyond the shadow of a doubt, if any of us fell overboard, it would be our end instantly. That mass of men of war are like some of the citizens of my country who think with one white sail in the waters of democracy. How deadly one sail men and women can be to the liberty that so many have fought and died for. This time of revised hate and ignorance, this time of those who would oppose the law of the land and try to sacrifice liberty with words of hate and mendacity, treason, the sea is blue, not green. I find I'm fortunate to move my craft with many sails. The sail of the Constitution, the sail of the Bill of Rights, the sail of hunger for the truth, the sail of nonviolence, the sail of separation of church and from state, the sail of respect for women, the sail of a woman's rights over her own body, the sail of respect for children. How dare you put one child in a cage? The sail of nonviolence, the sail of peace over war, the sail of people over profits. No sail, S-A-L-E, no sail on profits over people. The sail of poetry that warns, like this poem warns. One, if by land, two, if by sea, and don't forget the rights of the LGBTs. At the end of that journey across the Pacific, I'd be leaving the Navy and returning to civilian life. But you see, I knew I'd never leave my oath to oppose all foes of my nation, foreign and domestic. Let this day, at this time, this day, at this time, in La Mesa, be the beginning of nonviolence in our city, in our state, in our nation. Let this day be the end of any violence against any of our leaders in the spirit of Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks. A black man who was the first to die in the Revolutionary War, opposing the senseless violence of the king. On the great seal of this nation is the phrase e pluribus unum, out of many, one. Let us all live the letter of our nation's motto. Let it begin with you. Let it begin with us. One if by land, truly if I see it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Jimmy Poet, second Sunday Jimmy Poet open mic. If you would like to get on the microphone, I have the sign-up list. Each poet gets 5 minutes or 2 poems. And for the people on Zoom, can we give them a hand for coming on Zoom, please? Welcome. We have a lot of friends of our teacher, Daniela Paraguya right over here, and she's going to be at the table. She is at the author's table. We have 2 author's tables, one for her books, and she's going to be reading from her book, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about that in a little bit. Do you want to go talk to her and check out one of her books? Please do. And then we have the author's table next to her. For any of you who have books or CDs you would like to offer for sale, please put them on that table. Jimmy Collins, who is the one who trained me how to do this, and he said something like this. Second Sunday, Jimmy Poetry, it's about all races, all countries of origin, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. That's what this is about, because of Jimmy Collins.
Yeah, Jimmy.
That's Jimmy Collins.
Yeah.
He was a Black Panther back in Indianapolis back in the day. And he would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I know a lot of you know this, but some people don't. And he would cook food for children going to sleep hungry. He'd go to a kitchen and cook food for them. And after that was over, he would go on clothing drives for people. He would do go get medications for elders that couldn't get out of their houses. And so that's the spirit of the Black Panthers, and that spirit's in the room right now. We used to have a mural over there. So that's gone. So this right here is one of his prints. And so I want to thank Jimmy Collins for teaching me how to do this, because we want all of you to feel welcome. We want all of you to feel safe. So thank you for give yourselves a hand for coming down after what happened this weekend. Okay, a little housekeeping. The restroom is back here. And it's an all-gender restroom. If you need to use the facilities, please do. This is the best coffee in La Mesa over here at our deli.
Yeah.
And that man over there, who's the owner, that's Frank. 20-year Air Force veteran. Let's give him some love. And the people that are on Zoom have been told if they want to read their poems today, that let Cora know in the chat room, and she'll give me your names. And we can have you be on the mic as well. All right. Are you ready for some poetry?
Yes.
Only one guy. Okay, well, come on. No, just kidding. Are you ready for some poetry? Oh, I'm such a nag. He was the beat poet of San Diego. Then he was the beat poet of the United States. And now he's the international beat poet. This is Chris Benoit.
Don't drink decaf. Give me caffeine. Make me scream as the brown bean bakes and rotating metal drums. Cappuccino on ice. Latte is nice. Espresso my heart. Squeeze it through steam. Let me sip. Caffeine. Dripping down, thick and strong. Dripping down, creamed or chocolated. Sprinkled with nutmeg spice. Vanilla would be nice. More vanilla, please. Squeeze it out of my napkin. Cold, but oh so full of caffeine. Give me a coffee bar in my car. I'll put my order in. Fill my 2-liter cup to the brim. Top of the plop of whipped cream. What a dream. Oh, caffeine. Decaf. I don't drink decaf. We can do a couple poems from 1984. A cup twice broke. I've tried too hard to mend the cup that's broken upon the floor, trying to fit the pieces right, just like they were before. This jagged edge and splintered piece are now all that remain. The echo of your crashing fall, the calling of your name. With every piece my hands had slipped. Teardrops fill my eyes, a happy clown whose smile turned down, broken with his lies. With broken heart, with pleading voice, with words no longer heard. What's done is done. I am the one that's wounded with my words. Oh, will you come to see me here? Or will you come to see this lonely heart that once was part of you and part of me? This is a cup once broke. I held a cup of happiness that morning against the cold. The thoughts of her warm body like fire caressed my soul. But the warmth was quickly ended. The chill of loneliness began when the cup I had treasured dropped helplessly from my hand. The cup, it lay in pieces, broken upon the floor, my mind searching the rubble for dreams that were no more. Forever so quickly ended, never was meant to be. My love was vowed forever. It's gone from me.
Thank you, Chris. All right. This man taught history for a very long time. He's got one of the best reading voices I know of. Welcome, Chris Ernest Nelson.
Well, it was a life and death competition, and Mr. Vanoy pulled one on me, so I will bow my head in reverential homage while I prepare to eclipse his talent with my own. Okay, well, that being said, you may know poetry is a magic language. I am Chris Ernest Nelson, and this is I Heard the Voice of God. Don't tell me the word of God. Show me. There is no sacred cave where truth is trumpeted by an appointed angel. No whirlwind to shout, who has known the wisdom to count the clouds? I heard the voice of God myself and saw his face. I heard him sing in the confidence of laughter. I saw his radiant face in every act of kindness. I sat in utter stillness as his fire burned away all the lies of self as God. I lifted my hands in praise of his word that spoke the truth of the one living thing. He will comfort me as I approach the holy temple. When I fear the loss of will, I see the glory of heaven in the street, in the solitary body that turns to death for repose. Death is welcome. Death, the body falling away unnoticed, and life undiminished, forever racing forward into relentless life. Thank you very much. And this is, fittingly enough for now. He looked up from his work today to see the angel of light approach again. She told him to prepare himself for eminent immortality. She said he would be lifted into bliss to join his loved ones who have escaped the impenetrable pages of time. Then, as she sets a halo of glory on his head, she told him his body was being recalled by the earth to be made into new beings. many millions of wondrous new beings. Some forms not yet come to live in matter. For the spirit of life is rolling like thunder on the horizon, and its power will make everything new again. For the first time, he lifted his head to see how life moved through creation, like the wind that's up from the ocean moved through the willing trees. He bowed his head in knowing that spirit is forever dancing among the atoms of form, always celebrating with the music it makes on instruments of annihilation and creation. Then he carefully set his tools on the bench and brushed the dust from his shoulders. A single tear welled up in his eye as the angel touched his face with a mother's tenderness. His life in this world had been a great trial, but also a great adventure. He had known loneliness enough for now. Thank you. Pardon? I only have one besides I gave it to share. Okay?
Yeah, Alfred has had a family engagement. That's why he's not here, so he's fine. So can we give Chris some more love, please? That was really nice. He drove all the way from Oceanside. He has amazing memory. Remember, I have 2 brain cells left from the 70s. And this is your 3rd time here, isn't it? 2nd time? This is Junior. Let's give him some love.
Hello everyone, it's good to see you all again. So I know he just said I have really good memory, but these ones are fresh. I literally just wrote them, so I might mess up a little bit. I'll try my best though. I don't have a title for the first one I'd like to share, so I'll just get started. For me, all it takes is one word, one gesture, one seemingly insignificant action, turn the flicker of fire that dwells within me into a raging blaze. That's why, with respect to women, with respect to females, when it comes to making eye contact, approaching and talking to them, not only am I very reluctant, but I am extremely afraid. Because I'm aware of and I've experienced the soul resonance, the soul entanglement, the things that I can't see with my eyes, but I can feel it in my heart. I know deep down inside that things are taking place, changes are taking place. And I'm also aware that nothing in life is permanent. All of the females in my life are now gone. And the only thing that I have left to work with is nothing but the pain.
Wow.
So the next, when I was here last time, what I shared with everybody was a message to my spiritual guides. What I'd like to share today is a message to the girl whom with I will potentially spend the rest of my life. Okay, here we go. What would you do if somehow, some way, you discovered for yourself and I had the ability to write? What would you do if somehow, some way, you were able to see bits and pieces of the internal details of my life? What would you do if theoretically I told you, go get some sleep, don't worry about a thing, I will watch and take care of our newborn baby all throughout the night? What would you do if I said to you, I do not care about 99.99% of the other girls out there? To me, this isn't a game. To me, this is the championship fight. Would you still say yes after I tell you that I'm going to walk alongside you until I take my very last breath? Would you still say yes despite the obvious lack of charm, obvious lack of charisma, and the delivery that's typically, for most people, way too intense? Would you still say yes after I reveal to you that I am protecting with everything what took me decades to heal? And what that is, I can't put into words. All I can tell you is it's this thing that's embedded deeply beneath my chest. Sorry. Would you still say yes, knowing that I'm gonna want to see you naked while you still have all of your clothes on? And the way you can do that is by peeling away all the layers until you finally say to me that you can't go any further because there's nothing left. Why would you want this when I become so sensitive that out of nowhere, without warning, I can break down and start to cry? Why would you want this when there was a moment where the options I was considering were abuse drugs, abuse alcohol, abuse women, and behind the scenes pulling all of the strings was the final option to commit suicide? Why would you want this when you can download the dating app of your choice and instantly you have access to an infinite supply? Why would you want this when I'm the type of person that doesn't give a F about instant results? I'm grateful that I went through the struggle and the pain. It is the reason why who I am today. And while I am capable of change, for now, for the moment, I'm going to continue to be this way until the day that I die. I apologize for potentially wasting your time, and I can only imagine you must be wondering, why am I laughing? It's because it doesn't matter what you say. The words don't really mean much to me. If you really want to answer me, then do so through your actions.
Well, if your mouths are a little dry after that one, I want to recommend the Italian soda up at the deli. It's wet your whistle pretty good. Thank you, Junior. We're going to bring up a really amazing guy. He's here kind of backing me up today because Alfred's gone. Please welcome a very strong carpenter, pipe fitter. He's a amazing husband to his wife, and he's a musician. And you'll see what kind of a poet he is. This is Jack Stewart Smith.
Thank you, amazing Jim Marino. And also, let's give a hand to Cora for taking the Zoom today. Glasses, please. There you are. Hello, family. I love you all. The name of this poem is Damn. Gods, you speak of love, you ask us to love one another, yet you have no tolerance for each other. Gods, we are told there is only one way to receive your blessings, that we must follow only you, but which only you is the right one. Gods, how many of you are there? It gets pretty tricky. We live only in this tiny dimension, and you live in everything, everywhere. Gods, maybe in our dreams, you could simply stop by or call us on our phones. Am I asking too much? Gods, what if you all tried to love each other? What a lovely family that would be. Are power struggles a human trait, or have we learned our bad habits from you? Gods, isn't it an infinite universe large enough for all your egos to fit in? I feel you need a time out to ponder why you cannot behave. Gods, let the damning begin. Perhaps if you all damn each other, you will leave us humans alone. You see, we need something greater than a religion. Thank you. Interesting. When you write a poem and you say, you could talk to us in our dreams, then you have a dream. The name of this poem is It's Time. Alas, alas, my family, alas. Brokenness abounds. The cure is within our grasp. Awaken and begin now to heal. Strength and grace have been provided with no promise of an easy path. Slip on your sandals now, get moving. For those who feel not ready, remember, when you hear the call, God within will enliven you to love. I wrote a poem entitled Damn, and I asked, quote, God's maybe in our dreams, you could simply stop by, end quote. And it happened. As I awoke from the dream, these two words were very clearly given me. It's time. Thank you.
Amen.
Thanks, Jack. Let's welcome, I love this person very much. Let's welcome Leah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wonder, poke the tension to play back. I wonder, anybody else hear two poems at the beginning? Yeah, I think like not to like, you know, anything like that. Although that's all. I think maybe some of us in the room heard two poems or 5 minutes at the start of the open mic when the rules were announced, and that maybe they were just a little bit confused when they heard one poem. Just because most of us, I think I saw some hands in the back. I think that's sort of a shared feeling in the room. Anyway, but it sounds like we're doing one poem today, so that's kind of going to change my plans a little bit. I was planning for two, but let's see what I'll do. If I can, I'll start with just a very short piece. I'm Leah, by the way. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Good to be here.
Like 5 minutes, yeah.
I don't know. This is just a funny little story about. I'm going to give a shout out to another poet's work. I bumped into. It's funny. As a poet, I'm usually very long-winded, but I love brevity. I think it's like we want what we don't have. So when I bumped into this poem by Robert Creeley, I was really touched. Take your clothes off, love, and come to me. Soon the sun will be breaking over yon sea, and all our hairs be white, love, for aught we do, and all our nights be one, love, for all we knew. Thank you. Yeah, burst into tears the first few times I read that poem. Super quick, funny story. I was at the beach with a very good dear friend of mine.
Leah, do another poem.
That's what I'm just super quick story, and then thank you. That's just a shout out to another, and then so just a super dear friend of mine I went to the beach with, and I carved that poem into the sand with a rock. And as I was writing the attribution for the poet and putting the title at the end of it, I was wearing a beautiful one-piece bathing suit. I just got like a straw hat. And a man approached me and he said, "Are you Robert Creeley?" Pointing to the name in the sand, and I was like, "Yes." Anyway, that was fun. Sure. Let's see. Let's do. So let's see. Ironically, I feel bad. I wasn't really thinking about it as one of my own, but I'm just gonna. Am I gonna read the one I don't feel ready to read? No. Okay. This is all right. I don't know if I have the. Okay, this is going to be a bit new for me. I started transitioning last year, so that has some, interesting life effects. Here's a poem about kind of the culmination of a bit of a saga in my life. Where's that poem? Fuck, sorry. Here we go. Good morning, riches. I finally got the chest open, broken lock, and a crowbar tossed to the side style. What am I saying? I had sex. Would be a completely inappropriate thing to declare on a coffee shop microphone. So I won't. I will bury it in a poem. Which poem? Not this poem. Other things that are not this poem. You, thank God, stay the fuck away from me while I'm writing. If you value your soul, you'll get sucked in. Good. Yes, good is not this poem. You can tell from how fucked up the grammar is. Ending is not going to be this poem. Surprise, motherfucker. I hope you brought your sleeping bag and toothbrush. Muster sounds like it should be a bedroom word, doesn't it? Like gather up force and prepare for, and so close to musk and must. Like I have not fallen to food the way I felt to him last night. I remembered a taste that I had forgotten. Like the pheromones in sweat are so much wiser than I am, but they relinquish their power in favor of tenderness. To be the quiet watchers in the dark. Like, do you think blood cells ever stop and cloy against a vessel wall to listen to the rhythm of a bed rocking? I'm a screamer, apparently, is what I'm getting at. And that's all we're going to say about that. And what sealed the deal for him, quietly, respectfully sitting next to me with his friends, he didn't need this. I didn't need this, but I really did need this. Ever get that deep hunger that tastes like your veins are squirming after a too long sit, like a hunger that radiates, like a body tense in need of stretching? You are still growing. There's any sensible subconscious, but I am going to freeze here. April 2023, I became a woman. July 2024, I shared her with someone who deserved her. Nobody's perfect. God saves that for a few moments in our lives. I didn't live one last night, but I'm getting closer. I think I'm going to get closer to him. Thank you.
Yeah.
I had like a very long dry spell. Anyway, thank you all so much. Love you. Have a wonderful Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leah. This next gentleman is a Vietnam veteran. He lives right behind me, and he's got an amazing relationship with his wife. And this is Michael Turner Ortega.
Michael.
Also known as Icarus Blaze.
Barefoot poet.
Yeah. This poem is entitled Deep Observations, because that's what I do. In the subway of contentment, greeted by a large underground soundstage, singing poetry, morphing into a guitar with a sense of adventure that's about to be born. Stranger things have happened, like strolling down University Avenue westward, playing for keeps, being asked, "Where are you going?" By a brisk breeze with nippy ears and hollow echo. Responds with a fever, responds with a fervor. On an important journey without regrets, unburdened, lost in my head, but warm in my heart. Took a while to get there without any conclusions, and the freedom to choose compassion over condemnation, the possibility of what may be from where it comes, as though we were everyone else altogether. A big smile falls, made into a conversation of intergenerational trauma through an acute observer with an hourglass of timelessness, making up time to myself, flying over the chaos and getting painted all over and getting painted over another image that leaps beyond language. Thank you.
Yes. Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Cassandra, have you been here before? My memory's so bad. First time, let's give her first time love. This is Cassandra Ray.
Hello, my name is Cassandra, and this poem is for my father, who has been battling multiple myeloma cancer, and it's called Praying Upon the Rosary. I fidget with opal-colored beads, mumbling verses I recited in the Catholic Church. I can hear my heart pacing as if it's running a marathon inside my chest. The table that is used to plate delicious Mexican delicacies looks more like an altar table. Saints of all virtues are lit and glowing in synchrony around the Holy Bible. At the center of the table, holy water sits where we usually place freshly warmed tortillas and spicy salsas to share. Teary-eyed, I continue worship, reading scriptures of hope and faith, my voice trembling and autopilot monotonously pleading amen. My thoughts overflowing with anger, confusion. All I can think about is the cancer that's consuming my father's sense of being. Consuming his thoughts, abilities to walk and rest. My heart shatters like glass, thinking of a life where he's not here with me. He endures this pain for us. He endures rounds of chemotherapy and falling hair and sunken eyes for us. I rub the opal-colored beads and sign the cross once more. I plead for faith. I pray for time. This next one is called Love Song for My Life. I wear my sorrow unlike a clothed shirt or pendant, not visible to the eye unless you wear lenses for reading. Turn the page to unveil words of my existence, tucked away between pages of love and heartache. Written in jet black ink, smearing off the pages like strawberry jelly. Hopelessness, disgust, anger, peek through pages, ribbon lace caught between the used and fresh page. My sorrow, not in my sunken almond eyes, no longer whirling through my bloodstream, fading ripples of red currents on my wrists. Sorrow smears between the pen and paper. I turn the page and weep again. My pen comes crashing down like an aircraft plummeting to devastation. Fingernail biting and fears linger off the page. I write the song for myself, a romance of falling into poetry, of bringing words to life, a romance for a second chance of living, a second chance of finding my passion for writing. My heart murmurs like a lullaby, lyrics of wandering hands, and words of hatred sung in sweet melodies. I wear my sorrow through my words and sing aloud. I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy to share this piece with you, singing a love song of my revival of life.
Sandra, I hope you'll come back another week. Give her some more love, please. That was really nice. Sandra, if Steve Cowell was still alive, he would praise you for the detail in that poem. So such beautiful detail. You're very articulate, and you modeled for us without saying it that keep all your poems in a journal. Keep them all together because they're very valuable to us. So thank you very much. And now, I don't know what I'm going to do because she's got to leave the Zoom and come up on the microphone. This is Cora.
Hello, everyone. So I was touring because I have a really cool sci-fi poem, but thank you for reading the vulnerable piece, wherever you just went. So I'm going to read a vulnerable piece. I was actually asked by Leah once upon a time what I'm most afraid of. I don't think I've ever answered that quite honestly for myself or to others, so I wrote a poem. I am afraid of letting people in. Letting people inside my walls, walls of self-destruction, surrounding walls built by the faces I've worn to get away from the hands reaching for the doorknob, doorknob 10 yards away, tunneling away into infinity so you can never reach it. I am afraid of letting people in, letting people understand that I am completely different than who I am. I am broken glass used by an amateur artist with viral enamel shrapnel dangling like ornaments shriveled by hellfire oven, broiled over baskets of oranges baking in the sun, citrus juice spraying from the white rinds into paper cuts, like a broken doorway, splinters, like stinging nettle beneath the eyelid until the pain subsides, gone awry. I am afraid of having ties, having a roof over my head that feels like homestead. Homestead feels like comfort, stagnation, trapped, tormented to the same every day, the same every day, same every light fixture of the ceiling fan, always giving me headaches, migraines when I trace the corners of the drywall. Why can't I live in an oval home? I am so used to spiraling, spiral time, spiral mind, spiral uphill battle, down mountain, up cavern, around the bends of giving in, tension, giving up, a pension plan of I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I want to get off, cash in. I am afraid of having ties to people. Having friendships that mean more than shallow chill sessions and time investing love into beauty, into loving people without hiding behind a barrier, building futures with friends, only for them to leave and wither, leave and prosper, leave and never see the ocean again, pass away, leave and believe I was giving too much, or that I wasn't giving enough, leave a trail of bricks for me to fantasize over, like building blocks of faults, of flaws, of missteps, like Lego bricks. Childish, pointing to the tendons of soul, a reminder of a true character inside, like playful, colorful, a rhombus of innovation without skillful communication, like I am afraid of communicating. Why can't we speak in diagrams, every word of single purpose, no dual meanings or inflection, sarcasm defeated in the realm of step by step by step by step by. Actually, I'm tired of the formality of conversations, of relationships. I wish sometimes I were mute. Every time I speak without thinking, I am obtuse. Every time I speak after thinking, I am hypotenuse of a roundabout message, spiraling into what ifs turn to stagnant, blasphemous reason. A vehicle of bloated awareness, regurgitating wisdom like some archaic scientist with no lab to experiment in. I'm afraid of letting people in. Behind the organization and the facade of confidence interwoven into facial expressions is nothing. Nothing but the mess of my affirmations fighting for space on the whiteboard between equations, quantifying every little detail in a conversation, every flicker of body language, every struggle to breathe through the tension of formulaic expressions, formed when my emotions were little more than a problem to solve by my parents who taught me how to analyze life through a filter of black and white, who taught me how to stay hidden when I couldn't do the math, couldn't validate the numbers, spewing so fast from words spit out without emotions cut into pieces, LOVE, non-existent anxiety and fear, ever presently confirming that phrase my mother always used to say, silence is golden. Plain and simple, true to present. I am afraid of letting people in because I'm always one step away from identity crisis. After all, how can I live without fear when every silver lining I put my faith in is as fluid and fragile as my very own skin? Wow. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Thank you for helping us with the Zoom today. Oh, hi.
Still here.
Jesse,
Hi.
have you been here before? Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Let's welcome Jesse C. Come on up.
5 minutes.
This will be less than 5 minutes. And thanks, Jim, for having me. You've always been so welcoming, inviting me to read and patient, and I'm glad I didn't pass up the opportunity. I'm Jesse Cunningham, and by the way, I do want to mention that I found Jimmy Collins to be not just a great friend, but a great mentor, and I was fortunate enough to collaborate with him a number of times, and I think he'd be very happy knowing we were here and thinking about him.
Yeah.
Okay, this poem is called Blood Seeds. His body. He was the epitome, extreme archetype. His was the stamp mold model, blueprint paradigm. He cleared the slate, wrote new lessons. The shards of shattered icons, unswept litter earth that shudders beneath the weight of his stepping feet. His blood, swilled by thirsty cracks of barren rock, scarlet droplets formed seeds, bringing life to dust and broken ground. We dig our hands into the mud, planting the seeds, sticking our fingers in the clay. He taught us to be sculptors, and now we are the creators, caretakers of his garden, his footprint. We fall to our knees, remove our hats in reverence, worship him. We dare not follow too close, lest we diminish his brilliance. We grovel, lurking shades beyond light, not looking directly at him, fearing his radiance will strike us down. We swallow worms, eating dirt, lush fruit growing in the empty prints of his fell steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, wherever Jimmy is, he's smiling right now, and I didn't know about your relationship, so thank you for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for running this reading. It's one of my favorite in town.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Daniela Paraguya So was born in New York City, New York, and she was raised in Angeles City, Philippines, and in parts of Southern California. She and her family currently live in San Diego, where she serves as faculty in the English department at Grossmont College. But she also is an active member of the college, coordinating events for the creative writing program and the Asian and Pacific Honor Committee. And I hope you'll tell them about your event that's going to happen in August, because this will be on the internet, and you have that be more visible for you. I have to read this about this woman, Ina Carino, author of Feast, because Daniela's here for a book signing and offer her book to you. And Carino wrote this about Daniela's writing in this book. Just as the moon pushes away, it also tethers. And just as bustling home can pull, so does grief permeate the nuanced gains and losses of life. In Half Moon Rising, would you hold your book up, please? That's the book. In Half Moon Rising, Daniela So's lush language describes a wholeness achieved through personal blossoming, even in straddling two identities at once. Her lilting, melodic lines mimic lunar pushes and pulls, and there is a loud light to be found in these varying versions of home, despite hurt, shame, or distrust. This gorgeous collection speaks to how home and identity are much more than what is given to us. Now, how home can be something we as humans hold to ourselves, even as it seems to push further away. Please give some love for Daniela Paraguya So. $25.
How's it going, La Mesa? Woo! Nice to be here in this space with you. Wow, there's so many creative, wonderful people here. And I want to thank my family, my friends, and former students from creative writing class who are here in person and on Zoom. So thanks for being here for support, and I can't wait to get to know more of you. Thank you to Spacebar for this wonderful venue. Thank you to the owners. Thank you to Jim and Cora and Alfred. This would not be possible without you and your collaborative support. So this is Half Moon Rising. It's my debut full-length poetry collection. It's a work of love. I worked on this during my sabbatical leave because I work at Grossmont College and I applied for it, and I got to go to the Philippines for a month and visit my ancestors, my titos, all the people I love there. And I also got to do a lot of internal reflections and just immerse myself in writing, which was such a gift to do. So there are a lot of themes in this book. I'm going to read some poems for you today. And this has been revised multiple times with the help of Aina Carreño. They're published with Alice James Books, and just they're a wonderful poet and writer I respect so much. Erin Rodani, an amazing friend from the MFA program at SDSU, has 3 books, and she's just wonderful. And also Jose Hernandez Diaz wrote a blurb for my book, and he's visited San Diego, and I've supported him at his wonderful readings and events. I just think it's so important to, go out and support other writers whenever you can. And of course, Gustavo Adolfo Ibar, who is a close mentor and friend of mine. He was my mentor in the AWP program. We worked together 12 weeks straight on edits for this book. So it is in its final, product for you today, and I'm selling them over there at the table. So my first poem I want to read to you is called I Cannot Tell You of This Dread. It's about my mother who struggled with breast cancer and passed away in 2013. This book is dedicated to my mother, and I'm going to read it to you now. Her name is Jobema Alpuerto Paraguya Brown. I cannot tell you of this dread. When my mother and I hug goodbye, her cheek brushes mine, and my arm wraps around her, never to let go. Her low cough pierces the air, limbs shaking inside coral pink pajamas. I don't want this to be the last time I ever see her. What if it is? Panic swells in my throat, a stormy wave. As I fight for breath, I look longingly at her tired eyes, dry lips, sun-spotted skin, her porcelain hands hold in mine as she says how glad she is that I've come. Suddenly, I want to hear all the stories before they're gone from this woman who wears wisdom like a cape. Who cares that my flight leaves in 2 hours? Tell me more about your nursing school days in Manila, Mom. Those times when you waited for your tuition money to come by boat. Tell me how you slooped by without it, the devastation you felt when your own rich grandmother from the province refused to let you borrow. Describe to me when I was 3 how hard the New York City snow fell, the $100 in your pocket, bedding and rent you saved for. Did angels press dusty shadows against your apartment windows? Did they tuck away your tearful prayers? The door pushed partially open, and my mother coughs again, uncapped medication. I linger, trying to layer and laminate this moment into my memory, the unknowable ache that waits in half light. Thank you. I don't know what it is, but I after I grieved her, she's come and visited me in my dreams, and it's such a special, wonderful thing to have someone you love who's passed come visit you because you miss them so much. So this poem is called Deliverance. And it also has some, you'll notice some of the familiar acknowledgments of places here in San Diego too in the poem. Deliverance. After the fog yawns over me, my twisting body floats to somewhere where there is no footing, and the ethereal reveals to me my long gone mother with her dark eyes and ribboning hair. I stretch my arms and cry, I want to be with you. She glowers at me, passes her hands over my eyelids, says, it's not your time. Go back. Soon the harpoon of dream world releases me and I am aching hard, cocooned into myself. Perhaps only she knows how magnificent my wings can get, brushing up against death. Her curtness, a generous kind of hurt. So I scale the closest mountain, duck between trees with thrashing arms. So I heave my body into crash after crashing wave. So I slake my quiver with acrylics, brush floral prints on my walls. So I beam at every pristine painting that speaks to me, my wandering eye on Modigliani's long-necked figures, Degas pirouetting ballerina, Picasso's pencil sketches, cross-hatched this way and that. So I run along sunset cliffs, aligned with the flight of pelicans and other birds in mid-hunt, skimming their whimsical watery reflections. Not to be preyed by time or cinders, not to look back and wonder which strike could have delivered all my longings. Thank you. I should probably, if anybody has the book online or in person, yeah, I should probably say this is page number 2. This is page 30. This poem is called Ode to Lola. She's my grandmother. She came here to the US a few times and took care of me when I was younger. This is page 30, Ode to Lola. For Lola I will sing, for Lola I will remember. For Lola, I will take back the spiky balls from the sweet gum tree, the ones I threw, the ones that made her duck. Lola and her chuckle, smooth round cheeks, short silvery hair, paisley patterned dress with pearl buttons. I wish I'd learned to take better care of her. A teacher, a mother of 6 from Zamboanga. My Lola in slippers, the Bible tucked under her arm, reading glasses propped on her head. She would read passages to me by the dim light, coax me to confess my sins, but all I knew were boys and dodgeball, what she called puppy love. She liked to sleep low to the floor, just like back home. Many mornings, the stink of her fried fish disoriented our senses, but we adapted just as she adapted. For daily prayer, my mother and I followed her, lowering ourselves into long pews. How I ache now for the holy water of her being, for more stories of the province. In her final years, my Lola's memory slipped more and more. Kinsa ka, Tubema? Her children, nameless faces, looking for signs in her stare. For Lola, I sing to remember. For Lola, I love in her name. Thank you. I want to read to you In the Belly of Cebu City on page 41. I was in Cebu summer of 2022 and stayed with my titos, and we also went to Panglao, Bohol Island, and it was just really an enriching experience. So this one is In the Belly of Cebu City. On the 6th floor of the metro, I unravel Puso, diamond-shaped weaves of coconut leaves, revealing rice-tinted, slightly green, squished but delicious. We all eat with our fingers, dip crunchy lechon belly into brown sauce, glossed in fat. I almost passed out from how good and sweet the cassava cake tastes, yellow and sticky, firm yet gelatinous. Sometimes my tito and I digest in calm silence, watching others fill vendor lines. Other times we discuss the divine, the purpose of life, the energy of a soul, indestructible. I bring up my mother, her passing, more than once. I want to consume his understanding of God's grace, the afterlife, what sin and forgiveness mean. I mean, I must be empty somewhere if I'm asking. Like anything, though, ebb and flow, satisfaction and then hunger again. The jitney we ride, bobs in traffic, bodies slide and shift. Pesos get passed to the driver, change back again, palms on poles, exhaust fumes billow. The man in front of me pops back peanuts into his muscular jaw. I'm in awe of it all. What we take to go, not just leftovers, bones of the pig. I find shreds of myself reflected in the plastic plate, ube cake box and ready, spongy, purple slices crumbling. I just had ube yesterday. Gotta clap for ube. I love them. Page 48, and this is a poem I wrote because when I was in the Philippines, that's when Roe v. Wade was overturned, and I was angry about that because, you know, my body, my choice. Okay, we should all have accessible healthcare options, and women, everyone should have healthcare options available to them, no matter their circumstance. So this is what I wrote. We are not afraid to tear through this house like wildfire. You can try to put us out, but we will do what we want. We spread and we climb over the slopes, eloping arm in arm, choking out your thin, unspooled hoses, charcoaled and sputtering, dry, heaving. What's wrong, baby? Do you know yet what it means to deny access, to stomp out life-saving options? No, we are not afraid to melt the metal of your barbed fence. How you play gatekeeper one state to the next. Our wombs loom collectively, bellies engaged, flexing under fiery breasts and a silver moon. Take your tank truck and tools. It's too late, baby. This torch is moving without you because you couldn't move fast enough. We're spreading and smoldering, parallel to the wind. No, we're not afraid to belt our blues, singing until singed bodies pile sky high, higher than these flames. No, we will not behave. Debris, timber, litter, the low line. Oh, you. Now no one is safe. But go ahead with your strip burning. Salvage what you can while you still can. We're not afraid. Updraft untreated, embodying fire world frenzy. Thank you. So I'm gonna do a different poem. This poem, I got a couple more left. I'm gonna do a couple more and then wrap up here. This one's about my daughter. So she's mixed. So I'm half Filipino, half Romanian. And my husband's Mauritanian, so West African. And so what I noticed raising her, she's 8 now, and she's she has curly hair. And she's a mix of us, right? She has curly hair, and people love touching her hair, which is not okay, ever. Like, do not touch someone's personhood. It's their personal space. So we're just gonna keep going with the angry poem. And this poem is called Song for Mixed Girl Hair. And it's on page 65. Just teaching her how to, you know, take charge, set boundaries. A woman exclaims in Spanish over my daughter's hair, asks if she can touch it. No, you cannot touch her hair. And no guilt flutters. When strangers see black and mixed girls near, they want to caress their hair. To freshen the mane, first I spritz water all around. Soft, brown ringlets, daddy's pick will throw out the hair. And it's maybe the first thing anyone notices about her. In line at a pizzeria, a white woman stares at her hair, thinks no one is looking, can't help herself, reaches out with the hand to tussle our girl's curls. Stop with the hair touching, I want to shout. Boundaries, why broken so often? This girl knows she can say, my hair is a part of my body, please don't touch. Some days she asks me to twist the frontal strands, bobby pin back her hair. Other days she loops on a colorful stretchy headband or goes for an oversized flashy bow. Most days her hair is natural, just the way she likes it, framing and shading her beautiful brown face. She grins. I love my hair. I celebrate with her, though I'm still detangling people's hands from this mixed girl's hair. Thank you. So that's my daughter, Ella, dedicated for her. And lastly, I wanted to end on a love poem. So this is a poem that kind of goes over like the highlighted journey of me and my husband. We met in college. We went to UCSB together. And yeah, we were friends first and then we started dating. We've been together 18 years. So I really love our family. Self-portrait as a blushing petal nestled into the melt. I felt the seams of sky loosen and balloon over us the day I pedaled to your house, my white skirt billowing behind me. Before, the ache did not disturb. Before, I clung to my wake, vermilion and veined. I don't know why the sun raked at my back, intensely begging me to make my way to you. Does a crocus question its readiness to bloom? Del Playa stretched open. This is where we kiss. The saltiness sealing familiarity on our lips. How many black flies have swarmed us since that night? Digging us a ditch, picking our next fight, rousing our panic like field mice scattering. But we floated above the traffic. Our bodies satin in suspension, the tendrils of our fingers irreversibly and invisibly tangled. And I can't and I won't explain this enigma, a sweet fragrance of red hibiscus glazing over us. This stem, aerial and erect, these stipules present and free. Our fusion protects a younger leaf. Look how she collects the dew, drinks and light. Every time laughter shakes our joints. She may never know how we suffered and recovered from 2 hard frosts. The blight crystallized, though never hardening us. I prefer this side of the story, how we came out warm and a bit weathered on the other end. I want to cup the syrupy smell on my hands again for her, an offering of what love can cocoon. Maybe now it's plumeria perfuming this place, interlaced with the urge to love you harder, love you even when the biggest freeze of all towers over us, livid and lethal. And yes, this stem, deep-rooted, this blushing petal, nestle into the melt, shivering in the delicate spring wind. When you cradle me, heat flares. When my stars spin in wild directions, you say, burn, burn, and explode into everything you touch. Thank you. So thankful to my husband, my partner in crime. He's been on this poetry journey with me since the beginning and always supported me when I went off to get my MFA and even during the time I wrote this book. I'm thankful to Mandela and Ella for their love. And so this book is on sale for $20. I'm taking Venmo, PayPal, cash is fine too. And yeah, this was a wonderful reading. Thank you, Jim. Thank you everyone for this space. I know there will be more writers here to share, more writers and musicians, so I can't wait to hear your work. Thank you.
We had 8 poets on this stage not too long ago, reading Steve Poet's book-length poem, Intifada. And Danielle held her own up here with the other 7 of us. And when you're here, you're a poet among poets, or you are a human being among poets. And if you want to purchase the book Intifada, it's over on the table. Mary Cowett sent a whole bunch of them to us. And I asked her, where do you want us to, what do you want to do us to do with the money? And so she said, why don't you send the proceeds to any sales of the book? Just ask for a donation. And to a place where there's some Palestinian students who are studying in this country and they need some financial support. So Daniela, thank you for reading with us that day. And if you'd like to contribute to that, those books will be for sale after we're finished. I also want to say that the Revolutionary Poets Brigade is going to be doing some voter education and registration times, events, and 3 times before the election. I think Mr. Trump's ears should be healed up by then. And we'll be able to try and do our small part in registering people to vote, not telling them what to vote about, but registering them to vote and giving them voter education. We'll be at the Space Bar, we'll be at Queen Beach, and we'll be at the World Beach Center 3 times between now and the elections, and we hope you'll keep track of what we're doing. If you want to be on our emailing list, please come up and put your email address on this, and we'd love to see you here again. Are you ready for some more poetry?
Yes.
Well, I got another musician poet coming up. She comes to my classes. She writes extremely well, but she's someone who connects, and she gives feedback to the other poets who maybe aren't as seasoned as her and makes them feel welcome and at home. This is Anitra.
You'll be excited to know that I brought a homegrown tomato as part of goes with the first poem. However, I got hungry. Oh, you've got the evidence. What I'm referring to is I was reading a book on growing tomatoes, and the author said, my grandfather used to say, let's see, my mind's blank because I'm scared and nervous.
Cool. I'll learn that up next.
There are only 2 things that money can't buy: true love and homegrown tomatoes. I think that's a poem. Okay. Do you want the silly one first or the philosophical? Philosophical. And with the silly. Yes. Okay. All right. Hold on. It has exited in fear. This is by Rumi, and some of you have referred to Rumi before, and like that poet died in the 13th century. Stop judging the lovers. See them with the eyes of love. Their time is precious, and their souls are watching out for their beloved. Another one by Rumi. Though the road is endless, take the first step. Watching from a distance is not for real people. To live for the body is all animals can do, but you must travel by the life of the heart. And this is by a modern day visionary named Ron Ruthven, who initiated the Keely meditation practice. Be the person you want to be in the world, not how the world wants you to be. And how we walk is as important as where we are walking to. How you feel in your life is up to you, not someone else. Be good to yourself. Okay. So this was a song I wrote, but the song then fell off the back of the pickup, the melody, and all I got left was the words. And it's called You Stole My Wife. Now this is a little takeoff on country music, and I'm nothing against country music. It has its place, but there is a tendency for themes to repeat, as you probably know. I'll see if I can remember it. You stole my dog. You know it's true. Now don't you lie. I know it was you. My Chevy truck, you took that too. Oh, please don't lie. I know it was you. Well, you may think you're causing dissension, or maybe I just weren't paying attention. But I also noticed you stole my wife. I'm going to throw in the dog and the Chevy too, because you stole my wife, and I do thank you.
I have a Chevy, Anita.
I have a poem now.
Yeah.
Never read here about how 13 ways to lick
You
an
have
ice
you
cream
have
cone.
another one. Oh, you don't have
Next month.
It refers to something in the
Yeah, one up here, I think.
bed of a Chevy pickup.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll save that for after dark.
Julio Cesar Aguilar is a professor at Baylor University in Texas. He's joining us right now from there on Zoom, so he's got the biggest commute today. Julio, take it away.
Thank you, Jim. I'm going to read two poems, one in Spanish and the other in English. So, in total, four poems, okay? De Zapotlán la tarde. Tarde de Zapotlán, emancipada por el señorío infantil. Tarde que vuelve ya desde el crepúsculo, que en la memoria arde y se niega a la omisión y al escándalo del sigilo. Niebla a lo lejos y como de misterio un rumor. Un destello apenas y para siempre ya y solamente de purísimo candor. El bosque y los niños dialogan y el tiempo le responde ahora con su única voz que sabe lo que los hombres a veces olvidan. El futuro es este, pero de Zapotlán la tarde y solo júbilos del mundo entero. Afternoon in Zapotlan. Afternoon in Zapotlan, liberated by childhood's fiefdom. Afternoon turning back now from the twilight that sears in memory and denies any omission or scandalous secrecy. Distant fog and sound like a mystery, a glimmer, barely and always now, and only of purest innocence. The words and children in dialogue, and time replying now with its unique voice what men sometimes forget. The future is this, but Zapotlan's afternoon, and only joy the whole world through. The last poem, Cavilación en Polonia. Un paseo matinal por Varsovia en un día de invierno. Con todo su fuego, la nieve desafía el clamor del viento helado. Se ha desvanecido la bruma, pero el aire impávido aún arremete contra los rostros de los transeúntes, congelándolos. En algún hogar estará ardiendo el entusiasmo de la concordia, y satisfechos, los invitados alzan la copa de la aventura para luego proclamar su reino. Musings in Poland. Morning stroll through Warsaw on a winter day. With all its flame, the snow stands up to the din of frozen wind. The mist has vanished, but the undaunted air still assails the faces of passers-by, chilling them. At some heart enthusiasm for concord most likely burns, and, satisfied, the guests raise the cups to fortune, then toast its reign. Thank you very much.
Julio showed up at an activist San Diego event on Zoom, and he's stuck with us ever since. And thank you for coming from Texas. Julio, thank you very much. I think Jeannie is an associate of Daniela's. Jeannie Ugalde?
Janine Ugalde.
Janine? So please welcome Janine Ugalde.
Thank you. I am appearing from Portland, Oregon. Before I begin, I would like to offer gratitude and appreciation, as well as respect for Daniela, for her friendship, and for her poetry. I'd like to read two poems. Both of them were written while here in Portland, and both of them were written staying in a place that looked out onto a forest. Epistle to my forest. I hear you, robin, your triptych melody, and you, western tanager, sunshine feathers, a face of gentle flame, jay bird, strutting blue, cocky proclamations. Majestic cedar, I see your amber tears, crystallized wounds recalling long gone limbs. My eyes can't reach your towering skyward spires. Fir, may I call you Douglas? I cherish gifted pine cones placed at my feet. I collect these to honor you. Brilliant morning sun, your warm caress sates my needy heart. Branches bend, granting entrance through trees. The wood-slatted bench plays peekaboo with your glow. Forest air, a fragrant cleansing. I breathe deep gratitude breaths of reciprocity. Awestruck, I stand as you dispatch poplar seeds cascading across my lawn. To the bees, wasps, flies, to the spiders, I hear you. I see you. May I learn from your generous spirit, sharing what has never been mine. Epistle to the human. We see you too. Thank you. And then I'd like to read for you, Night Becomes Day. The light collapses into itself until all that's left, it seems, is nothing. Life hangs from a crescent sliver, every breath faded, every hope tenuous. But when eyes adapt, another world appears, one that thrives in the void of day, fully alive, full of life. And at this point, you see that fear holds no currency. Here, hope conquers all in this night time of life, and you breathe. The crisp air invigorates the brain, the spirit, the body, and you sink in to the peace that darkness holds. You stop searching for the damn light switch and you rest. Surrender to the light that has turned off, to the dark. And as you give in to all that this life holds, the night becomes day. Thank you.
Janine, I hope you wouldn't mind if I asked everyone who's going to be listening to this event today if they would write a poem entitled "Fear Holds No Currency." I hope you don't mind if we borrow that from you. Silence is golden. Kathy J., are you ready to read?
Yes,
This is Kathy J.
this is an acrostic poem, and then I just added on to it. Travesty is the title. Travel to Florida to be with my papa in his final days. Return to Michigan with his cremains. late September 10th, awakened on September 11th by the sight of the first plane crashing into the World Trade Center. It was no accident. Visions of an attack on all federal installations, effect this will have on our lives. Stopped, dead in my tracks, to call my husband to tell him to get out of there. Total helplessness, but at least Papa is with me in the laminated wood box. Yes, he walked out the door, saw the news during morning break. He came right home, not waiting for any official word on what to do. He's a rule breaker too. Papa died just before 9/11, and now I was back on duty. National Guard carrying M16 at the airport was a cutie. TSA told me to take off all my jewelry, and I said no. They threatened to take me to the back room. I said, sure, I'll go. On one condition, I want him. The TSA agent's face turned red and waved me through. Not a word was said. They never messed with mean Kathleen. Maybe I'm on a profile that isn't seen. Earlier, the boss said we didn't have to go back to travel duty. I said, I'm going. I won't back down. No terrorist is going to stop me. That's the way it's gonna be. Was I at the gates of hell? No, just arrived in Richmond, Virginia. Do tell. Just after 9/11, it was not heaven. Those were the days when you could still smoke in the airport. At the Defense Supply Center, Richmond, they called us trailer trash because we worked in temporary trailers due to no office space. That surely was not the case. We would commune with the elk when things got rough. The duty was not that tough. Rufus, my concierge at the Sheraton, was always there. He let me swim in the pool after hours. He didn't care. Tracy made sure we didn't drink the water. It's a toxic waste dump. We went clubbing after work and to Arby's for lunch. What? You can't go straight on a red light in Richmond? That was the gut punch. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. So we're down to our last three poets. And I wanted you to know that sometimes we hear some people are catching the COVID. And when I heard the news about our next poet, and then I saw him, he was like a skeleton. It was when COVID was very, very new. He's also a musician. He's an avid flautist as well as a poet. And please welcome John Kingsmill.
It's always a treat to be here. There's so many creative people. I'm in a few poetry circles, but they're kind of vanilla. This is anything but vanilla. I'm really getting the vibe in the room today about men and women and God. So I picked a couple of poems. The first one is called The Sadness of Old. The sadness of old and hulky men in a hot tub boiling their old bones, sitting like stones, one to a corner and far apart as they could possibly get, heads tilted down over massive chests, licking the wounds of their boyhood hearts. Still, near mute, alone, self-cornered. The road has been long and turned in on itself. They have lost words. At best, they mutter sounds like an animal marking territory, the way a dog hisses on a tree. To anoint their isolation, and solitude as men. This their relief and tired plea from the intolerable stiff silence of their whole lives. I lifted myself from these ancient waters this day. And for a little polarity, woman's love. Bear with me. Problem with these, I prefer paper, but I didn't know what I was going to. Read. When I really sunk down into your delicate question about my isolation, an answer swelled up around my shoulders. You placed your hand firmly on my chest, as a woman knows needs doing, and touched that old heart lump, that calcified heart of long ago when I gave up trying. You stayed there with your hand, and I let you in. This time, I stayed unhinged in the dark, on a foreign border, as whirling winds welled up, melting that cold, hard place into waters that flowed down my face, watching my eyes clear. Tears stood strong upon my cheek, unchecked. I felt them dry as black ink upon paper etched into my life as testaments to the power of seeing in the dark. The very darkness that has blinded me from you. Now I saw your power. Above me like a tower, standing free with a calm and steady eye. In the midst of storm, I beheld your eloquent mastery of love.
When you find out about someone has COVID and you're not sure how you feel, but you don't want the person to succumb to that, there's a Navajo prayer that's a really nice one to use. May he have beauty in front of him. May he have beauty behind him. May he have beauty above him. May he have beauty below him. May he have beauty to his left and his right. May he heal in beauty. Thanks for coming, John. Zara, are you still here? Is this your first time with us? We love young people. Welcome, Zara, first time.
Hello, hi, my name is Zara. Yeah, I have just two real short pieces. This is called 1700 degrees Celsius. When Auntie asks, you answer by spilling a mouthful of glass. For the last week, you have eaten nothing but sand, so that when she asks, and your belly fills with heat, you will spill up glass instead of fire. Wouldn't do to scorch the walls or burn the house down. When you pick the glass up, it cuts your hands. Auntie scolds you for getting blood everywhere. Clearly, your mother didn't know how to raise you right, she says. Perhaps it's kindling, or flint. You throw the glass away, little shards still stuck in your palms. Good thing for all that sand. She would have gone up like Deadwood. This is titled, I'm not going to say her name because that would be a breach of privacy. Open your eyes. You're on the cruise ship, upper deck. Everything is golden hour orange. She leans over the railing, turns her head to look at you. Unforgettable. But you take a picture anyways. Thank you.
So we have a tradition here, if you've never been here before, that we hang out after all the poetry is finished. If you want to come over and support Daniela, purchase her book, please do that. Talk to her about her influences. And any other poet, we want to encourage you to feel at home here and welcome. And so I got you. I got you. And so please remember that and have some more coffee if you want. We're going to be here next week as well. And you have an announcement? Come on up.
This Saturday at 3 o'clock, we'll have our poetry potluck at my brother's house. If anybody needs the address, let me know. 3 o'clock's the potluck, and 5 o'clock will be the open reading. This is the 34th annual poetry picnic. The address is 5088 Diane Avenue. If you need it, I have it right here. Just look me up afterwards.
I hope you got a lot of food because this is going to be on the internet, you know. Okay. Yeah, so please hang out and come over to Chris's deal on Saturday. He's starting it at 12 and the poetry reading starts at 5. It's an open mic out on his beautiful garden area. And see you there. See you there. Is he a tennis pro? Probably not. Is he a singer? Yeah. Is he a poet? Yeah. This is Alistair McLeod.
Yeah.
I've got some explaining to do. I remarked to a friend of mine that nobody tells you how to get ready for getting old. She said, that's a damn good point. And I'm a little older than I look. I'm pushing 80 pretty hard. And that means I've been around on this crazy planet for quite some time. And the other day, I went up to that wonderful theater in Encinitas, it's called La Paloma, where they were showing Easy Rider, which may mean nothing to half the people here, but Easy Rider was a counterculture landmark to those of us who at that time. And I found myself watching this film close to tears because it took me back to the fantasies I had about what was happening in the world, that things were really going to change and justice would be done and we'd all be living in communes and this did indeed turn out to be a fantasy, but I believed it. So that was quite an experience. So I'm not going to sing for you today. And the reason I'm not going to sing for you today is that last time I attempted to sing unrehearsed and did a FaceTime, and I refused to do that again. But I am going to read you a poem which I wrote at least a decade ago, and it contains all sorts of references to my youth, which will mean nothing to you. Sorry. But then I extended it to the present. So here we go. Called Living in the USA, which is a song by the Steve Miller Band way back then. Some of you know about that. And it should be subtitled Living in the World Today. When Ed Sullivan brought the lads from Liverpool on stage, I felt safe. When Ricky told me about his hard times down in Lonesome Town, I was touched and comforted. When matrons spoke in hushed and passionate tones of the king, I believed it was right. When Richard Boone passed me the card that bore the night, I knew all wrongs would be undone in this great land. When Texan voices crackling through a million miles of blackness spoke to men in white armor dancing slowly across a whited plain, I believed I walked with angels. When Lenny asked a hole-in-the-wall gathering of Manhattanites, did you come, did you come, did you come? I was cleansed of a dirtiness I hadn't known I wore, and even the cops were amused. When a college cover band socked and rocked me with mixed cry for satisfaction, I thought I had been shot in the amygdala with a Nero serum of raw truth. When somebody told me that Jackie's husband was gone, I felt the grave solemnity of his passing, not the shaking of the earth. When Robert Duvall swooped over the jungle in machines that sang of the Valkyries, I believed joyously that I was still on the right side. Long before the towers exploded and I was ripped more by puzzled guilt than a self-righteous rage, it all began to fall apart. It's still falling. I didn't understand when I wrote that how far there was to fall. I didn't know about a president who doesn't know when to wear his laurels as a moderately good man and retreat into a senescence that is no cause for shame. I didn't anticipate the mind-bending irony of a sociopathic leader nearly killed by a boy 2 years out of high school with a kind of weapon fetishized by his mad magaphiles. 50 years ago, I read about a coming climate chaos. It hadn't yet realized itself. It was always in the vague future. I never dreamed that in my life I'd see rivers tearing old homes from their foundations, a single hurricane wreaking havoc all the way from Cuba to Canada, drought and starvation driving millions out of Africa into the well-fed West to be greeted by hate. I never dreamed I'd see a permanent member of the UN Security Council wage an unprovoked, unannounced, vicious war against a harmless neighbor. I did not expect the final interpreters of our Constitution, a document I regard as reverence, to turn out to be evil, reactionary, and corrupt, to say nothing of misogynist. I never thought seriously about what it meant to be a Jew. I never thought seriously about what it meant to be an Arab. I'm neither one, but now, if I want to understand what my world is about, I have to get inside both those skins. Is it even possible? It goes on. It goes on. My friends ask me, what is going on? My answer, in times of change and uncertainty, the dominant emotion is fear. Nastiness and ruthlessness become irresistible, magical. Yes, if we become ugly enough, we will feel safe. If we stay stupid enough, we don't need to know about the things that terrify us. And so we render ourselves truly defenseless. And so it goes, and so it goes. And where it's going, no one knows.
Now you know why we record this. Because he needs a bigger audience as well. Well, my sister Dolores Fisher is going to read to you now.
Yeah.
Let's welcome her.
Well, it's been a long time. Thank you. Some of you know that I have been dealing with a health issue. But in certain communities, as they say, praise the Lord God Almighty, I am healed. And I do not apologize for being part of that community. The title of this poem has embedded in it the words of the National Black Anthem. Part of the chorus is, God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, God who has brought us thus far on the way. That's part of it. And if you don't know it, there's a joke on YouTube, which has Judy Garland singing, nobody knows the trouble I see in sort of semi-blackface. And someone said, this is the Black National Anthem. Well, no, James Weldon Johnson wrote the poem for some high school kids, and his brother Rosamond Johnson did the musical arrangement. There's also a concert musical arrangement for orchestra. Yes, choir and orchestra. That if you hear it, you will be absolutely amazed. I was part of the Martin Luther King choir that performed it here in San Diego years ago with the San Diego Symphony Orchestra under Reverend Dr. Glenn Jones. The title of this poem is, Yea, Though I Walk Through the Shadow. And for poets here, some of us who've known, and you mentioned Lenny, and for those people who don't know what went on in this country when it came to censorship, years ago, if you were a poet and you said something wrong, you would probably hear about it. And now they do it behind your back viciously on social media. Excuse me, but that's true. They used to do it to your face and censor you. So, yea, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it cannot be. God of our weary, tear-streaked silence, you who have brought us thus far from lash and chains, we rage against night fists of men whose bestial lust would eat the very soul of truth from the lips of newborn babes. But it is a sanguine 21st century evil pursues poetic spirit, howls and states of full-fanged frenzy, as fleshy fragments drop on wood-worn flailing chests. Uncontrollable jerking, uncontrollable jerking, uncontrollable jerking upward on dangling arms, tied to mock crucifix. As teeth splinters jaggedly from coagulated gum seepage into philosophically grounded pools of unlawful extraction. Broken fingers wrap around broken pen, scribble pseudo confession on scraps of blank paper. Trial management, you know, tools designed for maximum efficiency, to silence the poet, to silence the creative, to silence anyone who would say differently as to what is going on here, to silence them in multi-use engagement with the creatively obstinate, the pen and the paper, the pen and the paper, the forced confession. For some, words make laughter, bring love, they distract, they amuse, they appreciate life's beauty. For poets caught in the web of political genocide, words raise high truth's blood-stained banner. For creatives who are caught, they watch their lives canceled into oblivion from those whose opinion really means nothing less than nothing. Blazing, their souls are blazing like Jehovah's fire, We must get out the truth. It blazes against storms of deceit, betrayal, and hate. For the howling ravenous, words are weapons, ballistic battle soul ballads, chanted into waiting arms of wildwood's night-winged song, echo phantoms on oppressed lips, rebellion lullabies in oppressed ears, freedom all of a sudden forced to get up and stand. And if nothing else can happen, to stand anyway. In churches, funeral homes, coffee shops, offices, college campuses, street corners, playgrounds, homes, bars, concert halls, marches, and essays, and blogs, and poems. When words are truth, the war becomes insidious. The bellies of the vacuous powerful rip and slash with consuming gluttonous lies, silencing the poet, the creatively obstinate, silencing the blogger, silencing the person who says this is not truth. Gnashing and vomiting crimson innocent souls, bellies never filled, devouring justice, peace, ethics, morality, human dignity, and for a time, seemingly incinerating freedom. Until the word, in the beginning was the word, until the word stands in the midst of the fiery furnace of lies, stands in the midst of the echo chamber, stands in the midst of the systemic bubble, stands in the midst of the lies, and with truth steps into time to restore a balance beyond the strength of mere humanity.
Cora and I looked at each other. Thank you, my sister. That's just amazing. I'm so glad we're recording this. I am. We went over to Queen Bee one night, and I wonder about this particular gentleman that showed up, who was a very large man, large black man. And I said he's a real misogynist. And he went on right before us, and we did a piece called "Encounter in Reno" that confronted misogyny, and she played the piano and sang, but she sang looking directly at him, and he didn't come back for 2 weeks. That was pretty cool. Thank you, my sister, for that. Well, thanks for spending some time with us. I love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it. How about giving some more love for Daniela? She's still with us. And please support her and go over and get a book. You know, we'd appreciate that. And say, hang out with us. This is our last poem for today, called Words as Leaves. If words are leaves, then the leaves in this poem are moist with tears. Not only the tears of families with broken hearts from losing loved ones from unfettered mass shootings, massacres of innocents. These days, we all know the last of this senseless violence is not gone. The leaves are wet with tears of an entire nation, wondering where have all the flowers gone? Who is it that will not make this the law of the land? Excuse me. Who is it that will not make this the law of the land? About stopping massacres of young innocents, so our young will see that falling leaves have no tears, that someone actually cares whether they live or die. And those who place their hold on power above saving young lives can no longer be called ones who govern. They can now only be called bloody executioners of Cronus gods. In that case, it means being governed by those inferior to you. inferior to you. That's what Plato said so long ago. When we ask these frauds of law, where have all the flowers gone? The answer is gone to graveyards, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? See you.
Yeah.
Okay, now he told me to come down here
We need to
to
stop
more.
recording.
Yeah.